Welcome to the BYOB Generational Wealth Podcast. I'm your host, A. Donahue Baker. And in this particular show, we're going to talk about how to use credit effectively, the mindset you should have to really optimize your credit, and also what you need to do step by step to take your credit to the next level. There's really only two ways to create generational wealth, either through a business or through real estate. Credit is so important. So what's the purpose of having stellar credit? The whole purpose is leverage. You need to be able to use other people's money to achieve what you really want to achieve in your own life. So that way you can leverage your talents, you can leverage your experience, and you can even leverage a little bit of money that you have. Most people are short on cash. With credit, it allows you to multiply that and leverage the cash that you have to buy things that you normally couldn't afford. Credit is your credibility. It's your reputation. It's basically what you can use to leverage your talents, your resources to get things that you really want to go after. Prime example, if your credit score is 500, nobody's going to lend you anything. You got to learn how to step your game up to at least get to the level of a 700 or 720. In this particular show, I'm going to show you the strategy that we use step by step a little bit later on to get your credit score to a 720. The first action step to building credit is at least get your personal credit score to be 720. Basically what that means is 700, you may be able to do some things, but 720 allows you to really tap in and utilize the business credit, which we're going to talk about in a few more steps later. So when you get your credit score to be 720, what I want you to do is lock your personal credit. Lock it so you don't use it anymore. You don't have access to it. The reason why we want to lock your personal credit is because we don't want to use your personal credit at all. The key is using your business credit. And that's a step number 2. Going out, setting up a business or establishing a business profile. There's many points to establishing a business profile. A couple of the more important ones is getting a good LLC name, or it could be an LLP, or it could be an S Corp or a C Corp, really doesn't matter. But the thing is, you want to get a good business name. You don't want to have real estate or anything else. Try to get a generic name when you set up your business. Number 2, you have to have a separate address, a separate telephone number. All of these things are really key components in establishing your business and establishing your business credit. So once you get your business credit established, what you want to do is start to buy assets under the business credit. Assets could be anything from a vehicle, if you have a vehicle rental business of some sort, or a house, if you have a wholesaling or a rental or a buy and hold business for your real estate. So we got a question, how do you get your credit score built up to 720? Number 1, you want to remove all collections, delinquencies, and things like that. You wonder how you do it? Well, I'm not a credit repair expert, but the key is to get those things off your credit. That's the best way to do it. There's a number of companies that out there that'll help you do it. For a couple $100, they'll write the dispute letters and remove all the negative items off of your credit report, and you'll be on your way to making the 720 credit score. How do you lock your credit? Well, basically you notify the credit bureaus that you're no longer going to be using your credit for a significant period of time. And you just, there's a lock and unlock feature, you just lock your credit, and that's basically how it works. Now, when you want to use your credit again, all of this can be done online. You just can simply log on to the website, whether it's TransUnion, Experian, or Equifax, and you can unlock it from there. And with identity theft being at an all-time high, it's recommended that you lock your credit so that way nobody can put things on your credit that you have to later on remove or dispute in order to get your credit back to the standing that it once was. So, question came in, is it good to keep your credit at a 0 balance, or do you have to have a certain amount to keep your credit score high? Well, in order to have the best effective utilization rate, they call it, is you want to keep your credit utilization below 30%. So what that means is if your credit limit is $1,000, you don't want to go above $300. That's how you keep your utilization rate below 30%. And if a 0 balance is good, but if you continue to use your credit and you go above that 30% threshold, what you'll notice is your credit scores will decrease. So what I tell people is, if you are not using enough credit, sometimes the credit card companies will take that credit away. You don't want that to happen. So what I tell people to do is have multiple credit cards, but just pick 2 or 3 and just use those credit cards, but stay within the 30% threshold. So that way it'll positively affect you and you keep those credit scores high. And is it good to refinance? Well, it's good to refinance if you can get a lower rate. Obviously, if you can pay the credit card companies less interest, it's better for you because they're getting less money. Another trick that you can use is calling the credit card companies and asking, could you lower my rate? That's one way in which you can take a high balance credit card that you may have and maybe work on an agreement with them where they're willing to lower the rate some, saving you some money in the process and making your payments much more affordable. If you're in a situation where you can't meet the monthly payments, or you're in too much debt, or you're in over your head, what are some options that you can do? I try to tell this or say this all the time. Bankruptcy is always an option. If you follow the steps and the strategy and the mindset that I laid out today, bankruptcy becomes one way in which a lot of people have been able to use it. But it's not filing bankruptcy under your personal credit, it's filing bankruptcy under your business. If you continue to use your business the way you're supposed to be, you can file bankruptcy an infinite amount of times. I'm not encouraging that strategy, but the point I'm trying to make is it doesn't harm your personal credit if you have to file bankruptcy under your business. So it's very recommended to, whatever you buying on credit on your personal side, always have a business that you can do the same. And that is like a form of asset protection. So you definitely want to protect your personal assets, such as, your home, your car, your personal possessions. But when you file bankruptcy, your business assets become into play. So I just want to make clear the dichotomy between personal and business. Keeping those separate is a form of asset protection. In case you get over your head, you can always file bankruptcy.